disclaimer, I am wearing the same outfit as last video because I'm filming these videos on the same day and I can't be bothered to do an outfit change, so this is what you're getting. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please leave a like, comment down below and subscribe. And yeah, let's get on with the video. Today's video is a video I just started doing. I can't remember, I know I did it last year, I can't remember if I did it the year before, but we are going to do all the books that I read in 2023, and I'm going to get it up on my laptop, which I recently just decorated with stickers and a case. So we are going to scroll down. I'm also going to give you my stat, and yeah, so I have started using the Storygraph this year, so yeah, and that was fun. So I'll also give you my stats for that as well, like my stats for the year overall. I'm not a serious reviewer, I'm not a booktuber, so I am a lot more prone to giving out 5 stars, as you will see. So I'd say this year was very varied. So yeah, so the first book that I read was One Last Stop, which is by Casey McQuiston, and I got this book in a blind date with a book thing, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was quite a thick book. It says here it was 422 pages, so it was a thick one. I started off my year reading a thick book. I think I was reading it in December and then I finished it in January. But I finished it on the 17th of January, and then the next book I rated that 5 stars. And then the next book I read was Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Volume 1, which is by Xiang Tong. I think that's how you pronounce their name. I'm not too sure. Please don't come for me in the comments. This is the translation of the Chinese novel that the Untamed series was based on, and I watched that series with MacBook last year, and I really enjoyed it, so I was reading the book, and I finished this on the 25th of January 2023, obviously. And then a few days later, and I rated that 5 stars as well because I did really enjoy it. I then read the second Percy Jackson book, which is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, and I finished this on the 29th of January and I rated it 5 stars. I'm really enjoying the series that's currently out at the moment, and as everyone, that is by Rick Riordan. And then the next book I read was 5 Feet Apart. I finally got around to reading this. And this is by Tobias Ikononis, Rachel Lippincott, and Mikey Daltrey. I think that's how you say all their names. And I finished this on February 10th. And I rated it 5 stars again. And next up after that, we have my first not great reading. I think at this point I was still using Goodreads mainly, so these are like whole numbers. So next book I read and finished, I also finished it on the same day. I think I was reading 5 Feet Apart because I was trying to still keep on reading even though I was really struggling with this next book, which was Rainbow Ballet by L.M. Montgomery, and that is book number 7 in the Anne of Green Gables series, and I rated this 3 stars because I just wasn't enjoying it. And I know that these books are meant more so for children as far as I'm aware, but I didn't really like it, and it felt like a chore to read. But I feel a lot of reviews that I've seen after reading the book was that most people feel the same. And the next book I read, I finally read this. I finally got the book and completed the trilogy. I read Troy by Stephen Fry. I've read a lot of Greek mythology books this year, which is interesting. And yeah, so that's by Stephen Fry, as I said, and I finished that on March 16th, and I rated this 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I love a bit of Greek mythology. Next up we have Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Volume 2, and that is by the same author as Volume 1, obviously. This was finished on the 17th of April, and I rated it 5 stars again. Really enjoying it, enjoying the series. And then next up we have A Little Life. I finished this on April 19th, 2023. I was timing a lot of books this year, Jesus. This book I rated 5 stars and it destroyed me. It is a really good book, but I would definitely say that read the trigger warnings because it is a very heavy book and it did make me cry a lot, and there was one point where I had to stop reading it for a bit just to make sure I didn't upset myself too much. And then next up we have Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Kawaguchi, and I finished this on July 2nd and I rated it 5 stars. Again, really enjoyed the book. I've read a lot of translated literature and Greek stuff this year apparently, and a little bit of classics. Linking to the theme of Greek, I then read Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, and I finished this on the 9th of August and I rated this 5 stars as well. And then I went through a period where I was just consuming books because I didn't have anything else to do other than read. So on the same day, so on August 23rd, I finished both A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness and Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, and I rated A Monster Calls 5 stars. I think you would have seen in a vlog that I posted around that time this year. It upset me. It made me cry a lot. And then I rated Mrs. Dalloway 4. I then read, a couple days later, I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I finished that on August 29th. And if you know the twist at the end, like you think you've seen the twist, right? And then another twist happens and you're like, excuse me, hello? And it's like, didn't have, it's one of those few times where I've not suspected a twist in a book, and I really enjoyed it. But it does make sense, because you're kind of like, how do I know this? It makes sense like looking back, and I think rereading the book would be really interesting because you kind of like pick out the signs. Next up, the next day, on August 30th, I finished To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, and I rated that 5 stars. And then after that I went for a little bit of a break. Oh no, I didn't. I was making my way through all the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation books at the same time. I had digital copies of that, so I was reading, apart from the first one, I didn't have a digital copy of that. But yeah, so next up I finished Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volume 3. Finished that on 4, and I rated that 4.5 stars. I think that was just because I was hurt by the events of this book, so yeah. And then after that I read Loveless by Alice Oseman, and I finished this on September 9th and I rated this stars. And then I read Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volume 2, and I finished that on September 22nd. Did it 5 stars. As I said, I'm not a serious reviewer. I will probably just give 5 stars to most things unless they're not great. Unless I didn't like thoroughly enjoy it, I will rate it a thing. And then next up I read The Silk House by Katie Nunn, and I finished this on October 11th 2023. This was a book that Evie lent me and she really enjoyed, then she let me read it and I did really enjoy it. It was one of those ones where there was like a twist, but it wasn't like, it was a decent twist, but I was kind of like, it was one of those ones where, because the writing, I was suspecting it, and then I was like, I knew it. And like, I think having a twist like that is not necessarily predictable, but I think it just shows like good writing, and I'd rather something that I could possibly figure out myself than something that completely doesn't make sense. Next up, I have started reading Heaven's Official Blessing, which is written by the same author who wrote Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, and Evie again got me into this. We've started watching the anime. We've watched the first season of the anime, and we're waiting for season 2 to come out fully on Netflix. And I finished this on November 5th and I rated it 5 stars. The copy that I'm reading is a fan translation, so I am like keeping an eye on I found the official translations of the book in Waterstones, and I'm trying to trying to see where the chapters are with that. So yeah. And then my final book that I read of this year was This Winter by Alice Oseman, and this is a short novella. I wanted to read it because it was Christmas time, and then finished this on December 27th. I rated it 5 stars because I did really enjoy it. I'm then gonna quickly go into my stats. So I read 20 books, as said. My most The most common mood I read was emotional with a value, so 13 of the books I read were emotional, and then second one was adventurous with a value of 7, and then third was reflective and funny with value of 6. And then in terms of pace, I read mostly medium paced books with a value of 11, then read fast paced books which had a value of 5, and then slow books which had a value of 4. In terms of page numbers, I mostly read books that were between 300 to 499 pages, and then I read 7 books that were less than 300 pages and 1 book that was 500 plus pages, and I think that is a little light. So I read all fiction this year. The most common theme was genre was LGBTQIA, value of 10, fantasy value of 8, romance value of 7, literary which was 6, young adult which was 4, classics which were 3, contemporary 3, middle grade and magical realism and historical were 2, and then religion and history. Okay. What was the religion book? Okay. And then they were all print books. My most read author was Xiang Tong. I read 5 of their books, and then I read 2 of Virginia Woolf books and 2 Alice Oseman books, and my average rating was 5 stars. And yeah, that is it. I will remember to screenshot these and put these in the video. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like down below and subscribe, and I will see you all next week with another video. Bye.